Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the College of Business orientation session. We'll give it just a couple more minutes for everyone to get in. We should have about 80, a little over 80 students today. My name is Brandon McLeod. I'm one of the academic advisors in the Undergraduate Business Advising Center, and I'll be your presenter today. We'll spend about an hour going through a PowerPoint presentation, and then we will open it up for Q&A, questions at the end. I am joined by Maria Lindstrom. She is our coordinator of our Undergraduate Advising Center, Undergraduate Business Advising Center. She's here. She'll be monitoring the chat. So if you do have any questions along the way, the easiest way we found to do it is go ahead and ask your questions in the chat and Maria will answer you. But just keep in mind at the end, we'll also open it up for Q&A. So if you want to verbally ask a question, you'll be able to do that at the end of the session. We're going to go through a lot of information today. I know you guys are on information overload probably already. You're going to be meeting with us in the morning. You'll be meeting with your orientation leader going over GE and graduation requirements later in the afternoon. So we want to make sure that you get all the information that you need, but we also want to make sure that you retain it too. So we're only going to go over the most important stuff today regarding our classes, what you're going to register for, and just kind of general things that you need to know. So before we get started, we want to make sure you have these two documents. So the first one is the new student guidebook, and then the second one is what we call a business orientation review form. These would have been emailed to you most likely yesterday, maybe some of you this morning if you were recently added to this orientation session. So go ahead and check both your Sac State email and your personal email to make sure you received both the new student guidebook and your OR, which is short for orientation review. So go ahead and check your email for those. And it would have come from either myself, Brandon, Maria, or Jamie, one of our other academic advisors. If you have issues or you're not seeing it in your email or you haven't gotten it, let Maria know in the chat and she can give you a link to the guidebook, and she can also get your OR form and send that to you through email. Now, the OR form is really important. You'll want to have that along with the student guidebook. Maria just put the link in the chat for the guidebook. You'll want both of those as we go through our presentation today. We're going to be referencing them. The OR form is actually tailored specifically to you, and it's going to have recommendations of courses. It's going to have what you're still potentially missing for lower division courses. It's going to have a snapshot of your GPA and stuff like that. One thing I will say with the OR form is it is based on information most likely from January. That's the most recent transcript that we would have had access to. So if there's something missing, or maybe you added a summer course or added a late spring course, it may not be on the OR form. Just know that we're working off information that's a little bit old. It may not be the most updated information. All right, so make sure you get your OR form and your new student guidebook and kind of have those open. Hopefully you're on a computer and you can kind of follow along with those. All right, so what's the purpose of orientation? Oh, actually, before we get started, if there's orientation leaders in the room, I can make you co-hosts. I see Daniel's here. Let's see.
Hey, Brandon, I'm here too. The orientation.
Okay. Hey, Jaime.
I'm here as well.
Okay.
Me too.
Oh, wow, we get 4 today.
I'm also here.
Oh, wow, okay.
Sorry.
Good morning. Keep it
I'm
going.
gonna do some co-hosting here. Let's see, who did I miss? Got 1, 2, 3. Sorry, who are the other 2 that I missed?
Valeria and Sarah.
Okay, sure.
Sarah.
Okay.
And Natalie.
Natalie, okay, cool. 2. Okay, sorry about that. All right. So we should be good there. All right, so what's the reason that we have this orientation session today? We're an impacted major, as you already know. So we have a bunch of extra stuff that's important to keep in mind. But these are basically the 4 things that we want you to know by the time you finish our session today. So what the OSE is and how it serves you, important academic policies for business majors, upper division course requirements for business majors, and what to enroll in for your first semester. Everybody in the room will be enrolling around 3 p.m. today. You'll be enrolling in, anywhere from 2 to 6 classes for the fall. And our goal is to give you an idea of what you can take, at least in terms of the business major for the fall semester. You can refer to your OR form, and you'll see at the bottom some course suggestions. So just kind of keep that out as we go through. We just want to talk about first just a little bit about our college as a whole and kind of the resources and offices and departments and programs that we have for you. We're very student-centric in the College of Business in terms of how we deal and advise our students. So the first office, it's not really an office, but it's more of an organizational chart just to be aware of. We do have a dean of the college, obviously, and then below the dean is the associate dean, and that's Dr. J.D. Balakrishnan. And then under the associate dean, and this is kind of where it would affect you more, we have 6 department chairs, and each department chair is in charge of a certain number of concentrations. So everyone in the room, you've already chosen your business concentration. Maybe you want to do 2, but your concentration actually is under a department chair. Department chairs you can think of as kind of the head faculty within that area. They're kind of the leaders within their concentration. They kind of are basically effectively in charge of the faculty below them. They help create the schedule. They're kind of the go-to person within that concentration. So if you have questions about the concentration or just want to speak to someone who is kind of the authority within that concentration, that would be the department chair. And we have 6 department chairs. They're pretty set. We don't expect any changes in the next year or so. So just know that you do have a department chair within your area of emphasis in business. And that's kind of how our organizational chart works with our faculty. The next one is the OSE, which I had mentioned before. That's the Office of Student Engagement. We're kind of the office that I like to say handles all of the outside of the classroom things. We do a lot of different stuff that's not directly related to your classes and your professors and things like that. There are 4 advisors within the OSE. Once again, myself, we have Maria, who is our coordinator of our advising program, and we have Jamie and Stephanie. So we have a total of 4 advisors for the entire College of Business. The OSE, this is just kind of examples of what we do. We manage all of our student clubs within the business umbrella, organizations, and honor societies. So if you're interested in joining a business student club, or maybe you're interested in joining an honor society, all of that goes through the OSE. And one thing to keep in mind, even though we're starting to reopen and hopefully we'll be pretty much fully reopened by the spring, business student clubs are still happening. They're still meeting, they're still taking new members. So if you're interested in joining a business club, check out our website. We have a lot of different clubs for a lot of different activities and a lot of different areas that you may be interested in within the College of Business. We also manage the internship and job board within the College of Business. So if you're looking at getting an internship or maybe a part-time job or maybe a full-time job after you graduate, maybe you want to work on campus, we have a lot of different internships and jobs posted on our job board. And once again, this is on our website as well. A lot of this information is also in your new student guidebook, so you can kind of flip through and see what's in there. It goes into much more detail in the new student guidebook than what we have up on the screen, obviously. We give out a bunch of scholarship money and awards. Scholarships are a little bit weird timing-wise with summer orientations. The scholarship application deadline is always going to be in January or potentially early February, and it's always for the following academic year. So it's too late for this year to apply for scholarships, but mark on your calendar in January of 2022. That's when it's going to be available to apply for scholarships for the academic year of fall 2022 and spring of 2023. So we offer scholarships for a variety of different reasons. Many are based on your academic achievement. A lot are based on your interest, what concentration you're interested in. Some are based on your background. There's a lot of different scholarships out there. So don't think that you have to be a 4.0 student to qualify for any of our scholarships. There's a lot of different stuff out there. Check it out. You can apply to multiple scholarships at once as well. But once again, that doesn't come until January. We also have a peer tutoring program. And a lot of these things are very unique to the College of Business. If you look at other colleges or other majors, they may not have anything like this. So we have peer tutoring during the fall and spring semesters for most of our required business courses and even some of our elective courses. Our tutoring generally starts on the third week of each semester. So you won't be able to get tutoring for a class in the first 2 weeks, but starting that third week, you will be able to get some free tutoring. Once again, that information is on our website. The schedule usually doesn't come out until the third week of school, or like maybe at the end of the second week. So keep an eye out for that, especially if you're struggling in a business class. This will be your first semester at a 4-year university for most of you. So it's a good idea to get some help. It's out there, it's free, and our tutors are kind of ready and willing to help you out. All right, and then we also do a bunch of different events. We give out a bunch of free food. We have employers come on campus to meet with students. We have alumni come back meeting with students. We have CPA days where accounting students can get help with their CPA questions. There's prep week meal streak, which is where we give away a bunch of free food. During the pandemic, we've been doing it through DoorDash, but normally we'll do it in person. We'll give out 200 burritos to the first 200 students that show up, or roundtable pizza, all kinds of stuff. So that's kind of a general overview of what we do in the OSE. And then within the OSE, we have the UBAC, which is the Undergraduate Business Advising Center. This is the office that Maria, Jamie, Stephanie, and I work directly in. So we're advisors. Our main job is to advise students, to help you kind of navigate the university, pick your classes, and kind of graduate in a timely manner. We take a one-stop approach to our advising services. So at least over the summer, we'll be doing drop-ins on Zoom pretty much every day, unless it's a holiday, from 1 to 4 p.m. We also have appointments throughout the summer as well. And this is the same for the fall semester also. We have a first-year focus, second-year success program. That doesn't really pertain to transfer students, but it's more for incoming freshmen and second years. We do advising on admission to the business program, and we talk about our impaction with students. As you know, we're a heavily impacted major. We do general education advising as well. So our main task is not to be GE advisors. We all know enough about GE to do some basic advising. However, if it's kind of a thing that needs to be fixed, or something we may not quite know, we may refer you to the main GE Advising Center. But we try to get as much GE questions answered for you within our sessions. We do probation and academic standing advising, and we also process your major portion of your graduation application. So we're basically going to be your main advisors from here until from today until you graduate from Sac State. We also have faculty advisors. So myself and Maria and Jamie and Stephanie, we're all staff advisors. We can help you out with questions about classes, course sequencing, what GEs do I have left? What business classes do I have left to take? But we also have faculty advisors. They focus more on the more nuanced questions towards your concentration. So what careers can I pursue with this concentration? What electives should I take? Any professional like licensure or anything like that? That would be your faculty advisors. And each concentration has an assigned faculty advisor. This is going to be a full-time faculty in the College of Business, and they will be able to answer any questions like that. And that information is on our website as well. So if you come in to an advising session with us and you're saying, what's the difference between federal tax procedures and cost accounting, and which one has a better career arc? We're going to be like, I have no idea. I don't know enough about that type of specific question to answer for you. But we will refer you to a faculty advisor for that type of question. So there is a difference between staff advisors, which are us, and your faculty advisors. All right, let's move on to the outline of the business administration major. So this is where we're going to start talking more about your specific classes and classes you may still be missing and what you kind of need to have and what you'll be registering for in this next semester. So our business major is kind of split up into two different areas. We have our lower division and we have our upper division. And then the upper division itself is split into two other areas or two sub areas. Most of you are done with the lower division. There are some of you that are missing a couple classes, and we'll go over that in just a sec. Once again, you can refer to your OR form. In the middle of the OR form, it will show courses missing. Once again, this is based off information most likely from January. So if you added a class late, or maybe a transcript came in late from a different school that you attended, maybe you just took one class there, we may not be aware of that. So just know that this OR is our best attempt and our best view at what you're currently missing. So we've got lower division, then we've got upper division. Upper division split into the major core, which is required for all students, and then your concentration classes, which depends on which concentration you've chosen in terms of how many units you'll be required to take. The lower division courses start on page 8 of your new student guidebook. So if you want to follow along, that's definitely something that you can do. We have basically 8 classes that are part of our lower division requirements. And I notice that says 21 units. It's actually 23. We got to fix that. So it's 23 units for the 8 lower division classes. So we've got accounting 1, accounting 2. So that's financial and managerial accounting, econ 1A, 1B, macro and micro econ, and then management 10, business law. Those first 5 classes, everyone in the room should have done already, or maybe you're taking one of them over the summer. These are all part of our required courses, and it's also required for an ADT, which we'll get to in just a sec. But these first 5 classes should basically all be done by everybody in the room. MIS 10 is our new business spreadsheets course. It's a 2-unit Microsoft Excel course. It's fairly new. There used to be an old class called MIS 1, 2, and 3 that you may be more familiar with. This class is basically replacing that from here on out. If you took MIS 1, 2, and 3 spring 2021 or before, we will honor that. But if you haven't taken it yet, you're going to be required to take MIS 10 going forward. I know just from doing your ORs, there's a lot of students in the room that are still missing MIS 10. It is a very important course. You want to try to get it done as soon as possible. It's basically going to, it's not a direct prerequisite, but you really need the Excel knowledge to do well in some of our upper division classes. Then there's Math 24 and Stat 1. These are the 2 math courses that we require. Most students have stats done. Math 24 is the tricky one. Since Math 24 usually is not required for a business ADT degree, we do get a lot of students transferring in without it. However, it is a required course for the business program. So if you're missing Math 24 or Stat 1, most likely it's going to be Math 24. You will need to take that ASAP, and we would have noted that on your OR form. You're going to see this word ALEKS, A-L-E-K-S. The ALEKS is a placement test that the math department requires for Math 24 and Stat 1. However, if you have Stat 1 completed, the math department should be waiving the ALEKS for you, and you'll be able to register for Math 24 without having to take the ALEKS, hopefully. The math department has told us that the Stat 1 is okay in place of the ALEKS to take Math 24. So as long as you are not a student that's missing both math classes, you should not have to take the ALEKS. And I'll go over in a future slide how to contact the math department and how to get enrolled in Math 24 if that's what you need to take. But these are the 8 lower division courses. There's probably quite a few of you in the room that are completely done with these, so you can just check out. You don't have to worry about doing these, but there are also quite a few students in the room that do not have this class done, or maybe you're missing one of the classes or 2. So we've noted that on your OR. It is important. These are the highest priority to get done. They are prereqs to advance on in the program. And without them, you kind of are going to be heavily restricted in what you can take in the upper division business classes. All right, so I've kind of danced around this for a little bit, but the ADT, I'm sure most of you in the room are familiar with what an ADT is. It's an associate degree for transfer. I would guess about 90% of you in the room probably have an ADT or we're scheduled to get one either this spring or this summer. If you look on your OR form, about halfway down the page, there's going to be a little box and it'll say ADT verification next to it. Here, actually, let me just go back and I can kind of show you on this screen, just so we can all see. So this is just a sample OR. It's for Herky Hornet, who's obviously not a real person. Herky's a marketing major or marketing concentration, but if you notice on Herky's OR, it says ADT completion verification unofficial transcript showing degree completion date and final grades. It's checked. It's highlighted. It's got a black box. That means it's been checked. If your OR has this checked, we need a copy of your ADT verification degree conferral, and that's going to be found on your unofficial transcript. So let me go back to the slide we were just on. So if that is checked in your OR, or if it's highlighted in your OR, we will need proof of your ADT basically as soon as possible. You can email your PDF transcript with the ADT conferral to our email address, cba-ugrad@csus.edu. Now, this is always hard. Students ask, well, where can I find my ADT? I don't know where to look. What you have to do is generally pull up your unofficial transcript on your link in your community college equivalent to their MySAC state. So their e-services, whatever your login system is for your community college. Go pull up your unofficial transcript. It will look something like this on the bottom of the screen. This one is pulled from Sierra College. I just kind of picked a random student and cut out their name. But this is one from Sierra College. So it'll look something like this. It'll say a degree, AST, and business. What we need is the degree date filled in. And there's a big red arrow showing the degree date on this particular ADT conferral. So what you'll need to do is get this to us as soon as you can. Now, it is June 15th. Most schools just ended, and some quarter schools, I believe, are still going, or maybe just ended a couple days ago. So don't expect your ADT to be posted. It may be, but it's probably not going to be posted right now. You have basically until the end of the month of August to get this to us, basically before the fall semester starts. And the semester, I believe, starts on August 30th later this year. So no rush, no need to freak out. We get a lot of students freaking out saying, I can't find my ADT, and am I going to get dropped from my classes, and is my life over? No, you're going to be okay. Just make sure and get it to us by the end of August. Most ADTs are generally posted in July. Sometimes the community colleges are a little overwhelmed or they're backed up. And so check your unofficial transcript and see if your ADT is posted. If not, no worries. We'll need to get that from you in the next couple of months. Generally, if we don't hear from you, I'd say by the end of July, we're going to be emailing you saying, hey, remember at orientation, we asked for this ADT, still haven't gotten it. We'll need a copy of that. Now, if you don't get your ADT, if you didn't pass a class or you're missing a class and you hear from your community college that you did not get your ADT awarded, you need to let us know. If that happens, you'll have to be most likely removed from the business major and you'll have to reapply to the major in the fall semester. But the earlier you tell us that, the quicker we can help you get your class schedule set up and make sure that you're set to reapply to the major in the fall. There are some students in the room who have a summer ADT. Obviously, that won't be posted until August or September. We'll work with you, but if you're a summer ADT, we'll still need your ADT conferral, but obviously it's going to be pushed back a little bit because you're getting it in the summer. All right. If you have any questions about the ADT, you can ask them in the chat, or you can wait to the end and we can talk about it at the end. All right, so let's move on to upper division business major core courses. These are on page 9 of your new student guidebook. There's 8 courses, they're 24 units, they're 3 units apiece. These are required for all business concentrations, regardless of what you're doing. If you're doing accounting, your degree is in business, so you're still going to have to take these 8 courses. So I'll just run through them real quick. There's DS 101, which is data analysis for managers. This is our upper division business stats course. Not to scare you, but this course is generally known as our hardest course, especially if you struggle in math. If you do end up taking this class in the fall, just kind of be aware that typically, not for everybody, but typically it's our hardest course. We have HR 101, that's intro to HR, management 102, business communications, finance is business finance, MIS 101 is computer information systems for management. A lot of confusion with MIS 101. It is not the same as MIS 10. It is not the same as MIS 1, 2, and 3. It's an upper division management information systems. You're not learning Excel in this. You're not learning PowerPoint. You're learning more advanced data analysis, not data analysis. You're learning more advanced information systems, information technology, how that's used in the business field. Marketing 101, principles of marketing, OPM, operations management. And then you'll notice at the very bottom, there's a course called GM 105. That's our capstone course. It's not taken until your senior year. So it has a lot of prerequisites, and it's just something that you won't be eligible to take right away. So don't worry about that one. Couple other things, you'll notice DS 101 has 2 prerequisites, Math 24 and Stat 1. If you don't have Math 24 and Stat 1 done by the end of summer, you won't be able to take DS 101 in the fall. And then OPM 101 also has a prerequisite of DS 101. It says it can be taken concurrently, but if you're not ready to take DS 101, you won't be able to take OPM 101. So once again, check your OR form and you'll see some class suggestions. If you still need to take Math 24 or Stat 1, we will not have DS or OPM listed as options for the fall because you're not quite ready to take that. And then the last thing I wanted to point out about this slide is we get a lot of students saying, hey, I took Marketing 300 from American River, or I took a business communications class from my community college. Will that count for this? And unfortunately, the answer is no. These are all upper division courses. They're all 100 or higher. So these courses are required to be taken at Sac State. The only other way you could potentially have credit for these courses is if you took an equivalent course that's a direct equivalent at another 4-year school that has AACSB business certification. So the chances of that are fairly slim, or if you happen to have taken it at another CSU, but I'm pretty sure most of the students in the room are coming directly from a community college. But if you have any questions about these, you can feel free to ask them at the end of the session. All right, let's see. Let's move on to the next. So I had mentioned before that your major is business, but we do have 10 concentrations. You have to pick at least one concentration in order to get your degree from Sac State in business. And you can pick from any of the list here. Technically, you've already chosen your concentration when you applied to the business major. You are more than welcome to change it. You are more than welcome to add a second concentration. We generally don't recommend doing more than 2 concentrations unless there's kind of a good reason for it. And the career possibilities for these are on pages 24 to 25. So if you're kind of not sure of your concentration, check out those pages on the new student guidebook. And then the concentration, like specific information about what classes you'll need, I believe that's pages 12 to 23 in your new student guidebook. So it's going to go through every single class required for each concentration. If you're thinking about adding a second concentration, most of the concentrations, well, I should say some of them mesh well better than others. So let's say you're starting with accounting and you want to add MIS. There is no overlap between these two. So you're going to be doing 8 classes for accounting, and then another 8 classes for MIS. However, if you start with accounting and you want to add international business, it's actually only an extra 9 units because there's so much overlap between the two. So you kind of have to look, it's kind of like putting together a puzzle. You have to see which classes are counting for more than one concentration. If you see a class that appears for more than one concentration, you can double count that class. So In general, most students just do one concentration, but if you're interested, you could always do more than one. And then I will point out for the finance students in here, finance is weird. It's obviously its own concentration, but it has 4 sub areas or tracks or kind of areas of emphasis. You have to choose at least one of those, but they don't appear anywhere official. So most students do general finance, but there are some students that do financial planning, real estate, or risk management. But just keep in mind that you have to pick at least one of those sub-track areas in order to graduate. But the other thing to keep in mind is they don't appear anywhere official, unfortunately. Kind of a weird setup with finance, but just want to make sure you guys know that before you commit to finance. All right, so that is the list of our concentrations. Once again, kind of flip through your guidebook. I believe it starts on page 11 or 12 with accounting, and then it goes all the way through supply chain. And just so you know, you may not be aware, we have 2 new concentrations, well, fairly new within the last year. Business analytics is brand new, and supply chain management is new. So you may have been looking at an older document or talking to an advisor that may have not known, but we do have 2 new concentrations that you can choose from, BA or business analytics and SCM or supply chain management. So check those out if they look interesting. All right, just a couple policies that I wanted to go over. These are kind of 3 of many, but 3 important policies that we think you will want to know. These are on page 29 of your new student guidebook. The first one is minimum grade requirements. So you need, this one's pretty easy. You need a C- or better in all of your business courses. That's lower division, upper division, core, concentration, prereq. You need a C- or better. The only exception is Math 24. You do need a C. So for those of you that are still missing Math 24, make sure and get a C or higher. And then everything else you need a C-. So starting with all your business courses this fall, you're going to have to get a C- or better in order for it to be considered a passing grade for the College of Business. The next one is repeating courses. So this one is probably our policy that can potentially have the most impact. You have 3 attempts to pass any business course, whether it's lower division or upper division, whether it's a core or a concentration class. If you cannot pass by the 3rd attempt, then you're going to be in a situation where you either have to change your major completely or you have to change your concentration. And that depends on which class it is that you don't pass on your 3rd attempt. So let's just take an example. Let's say you take DS 101. I mentioned it's kind of one of our more difficult classes. Let's say you take it in the fall and you get an F. And then you retake it in the spring and you get a D+. A little bit better, but not quite passing. That's your 2nd attempt. Now, when you re-enroll for that class for the 3rd time, DS 101 is a required course. If you can't pass it by your 3rd attempt, then you have to be removed from the major. So that's obviously not a situation that you want to be in. If you find yourself in trouble with a course, if you find yourself, especially on your 3rd attempt, reach out to us. We can help you with tutoring. We can help you with maybe dropping the class and trying to take it at a better time or in the future. But there's no appeal for this. If you don't pass a class on your 3rd attempt, you are either out of the major or you're going to have to change your concentration. And once again, there's no appeal for that process. The last one is the 10-year currency of knowledge policy. This one kind of sounds crazy, but you have to graduate basically by fall of 2031. So that is 10 years from basically when you take your first upper division business class. Now that may sound crazy, like of course I'm going to finish in 10 years, but sometimes life happens. You have to stop out for a while. So just know if you take a break and you want to come back, that clock is always ticking from the very first time you take your first upper division business course, which for the majority of you, or almost all of you, will be fall of 2021. So just make a note, you got to graduate by fall of 2031. All right, those are kind of our 3 big policies that we wanted to make sure students know. So the next couple of slides will be dealing with registration. Once again, refer to your OR form. So I've kind of ordered these in kind of like a priority of what you need to be thinking about first, and then you can move to the next one, and then you can move to the next one. Let's see, sorry, I had to mute somebody. So the first priority is going to be any missing lower division business classes. So for the vast majority of you, this is going to be MIS 10 and or Math 24, maybe Stat 1. I think I had a couple students maybe in the entire orientation list that were missing Stat 1. But mostly it's Math 24 and MIS 10. Let's take Math 24 and Stats first. Especially with Math 24, the math department has a restriction on this course. You will not be able to enroll in it unless you get help from them or you have a passing ALEX score in the system. I'm gonna bet none of you have the ALEX score. You probably haven't even heard about the ALEX until today. So if you have a passing grade in Stat 1 or any other college level math class, it depends on which class it is, but you'd have to check with the math department. But generally with passing grade in Stat 1, you'll be able to enroll in Math 24. However, you will have to email the math department at their email address here on the screen. So it's math-01@csus.edu. What you'll want to do is email them, attach your unofficial transcripts, put in your student ID number, and put maybe your first and second choice of which Math 24 section you want. Make sure your unofficial transcript has your Stat 1 grade highlighted on it so they can see that you passed the course. And from what the math department has told us, they'll be able to basically bypass the ALEX for you and put you into a Math 24 section. So that's really the easiest way to get enrolled in Math 24. If you need Stat 1, in the past, the restriction hasn't been on the Stat 1 class. I don't know if that's changed, but if you need Stat 1 and you have Math 24, you should still be able to enroll in Stat 1, but you may need to email the math department. So one other thing to keep in mind, if you are missing these lower division business courses, you can take them over the summer. You can take them concurrently at a local community college in the fall as well. Some students find that easier. It may be cheaper. You maybe already have your math placement in the system. You maybe have a professor that you would rather take at the community college. That is fine. All of these are lower division courses. They can be taken at the community college. So, consider that. And if you can get them done over the summer, great. If not, you definitely need to get these lower division courses done no later than fall of 2021 in order to stay on track with your progress through the business major. One other thing about MIS 10, you're going to see that the class is showing is open. We don't offer it over the summer, but we do offer it in the fall. However, you're going to see it looks like it's open, but it's actually on reserved seating. That's a bunch of seats are being held for the new incoming freshmen. However, those seats will be opened up if there's any left, which we're hopeful that there are, August 9th. That's when registration reopens for the entire campus. So if you need to take MIS 10, put a note in your calendar or a reminder to check on August 9th to see if any open spots pop up in MIS 10. But honestly, you may just want to consider taking these at the community college, either in the summer or in the fall. We don't really care where you take them. They just need to get done ASAP. So that's the first priority, lower division business courses. The second priority is going to be your kind of core business classes, your 101s, your HR 101, Management 102, Finance 101, Marketing, MIS, and DS and OPM if you're eligible, meaning you have math and stats already done. Refer to your OR form. At the very bottom, you'll see suggested courses. Your ORs came from 3 different advisors, so we all have a different way of kind of telling you what to take. But check the bottom of your OR and we'll have given you at least 5, if not more, sample courses that you can take for the upcoming fall semester. Check your OR because sometimes based on your concentration, there may be some courses available. For example, accounting students, you have some courses to take. MIS students have some courses to take. So basically just refer back to your OR form and you'll be able to see what's out there and what you'll be able to potentially take. And then the last in terms of priority, at least from my point of view as a major advisor, is your upper division GE. You'll learn more about that today, but each student has to take at least minimum 3 upper division GEs here at Sac State. So the fall semester is a great time to take maybe one of those, kind of mix it in with your business classes so that you have a balanced schedule for the fall. So once again, just to recap the priority, prioritize any missing lower division business courses. Those need to be done first. Then you'll want to enroll in your 101s, whichever ones you're eligible for, consult your OR, and potentially some concentration courses, and then upper division GE you can also add in there as well. And once again, you'll be learning more about your GE a little bit later today. Okay, so that's kind of just an overview of the priority of kind of what we want you to do as a student. I had alluded to this earlier. We want you to make sure and avoid the bottleneck of the math not placement, but the math order and math priority through the business classes. I had mentioned before that Math 24 and Stat 1 are prereqs for DS 101. DS 101 is a prereq / co-requisite for OPM. And then DS and OPM are themselves prerequisites to GM 105 and some other data analytics courses, if that's your concentration, or supply chain courses, if that's your concentration, or GM 170, if you're a general management concentration. And then GM 105 has to be taken by everybody. So if you wait too long on finishing your math or stats, then that's going to delay you taking DS, which is then going to delay you taking OPM, which is then going to delay you taking these courses on the right-hand side. So the point is, you don't want to delay taking math and stats. I would not let it go past this fall. If you have to wait till next spring, you're just putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be restricted and it may affect your time to graduation. We've had lots of students in this situation where they have to be here 1 extra semester, 1 extra summer to finish up GM 105. And obviously that's not what we want for students. It's very expensive to take an extra class here by itself. And we want that to be avoided. So once again, you want to finish your math and stats ASAP. All right, so the next slide is just some concentration specific advice. So this is going to be kind of a call out to specific concentrations and some extra classes that you may want to consider. Most of these will appear on your OR, but it's always good just to reiterate kind of some other options for you, just so you have as many class options to pick from when you go to register today at 3. So accounting students, we really want you to focus on Accounting 111. That's kind of the first intermediate accounting course. It's kind of your stepping stone. It's a prereq to pretty much every other accounting class that you're going to be taking. And then accounting students, you can consider taking Accounting 121 or 171 as well. Those are cost accounting and federal tax, but they don't have prereqs and they're open. At least they were as of yesterday. And those are classes that you could potentially take in this fall semester. MIS students, you want to consider taking MIS 15 and MIS 140, or at least one of them. Those are concentration courses. They both do not have any prerequisites, and they, I believe, are still open, so you could try to grab those for the upcoming fall semester. If we have any entrepreneurship students, entrepreneurship is a super small concentration, but if we have any ENTR students, you can take 187 or 189. They're both required, but they both don't have prerequisites. If we have any IBIZ students in the room, international business, consider taking IBIZ 180. It's not required, but it's an elective that meets an area of your IBIZ concentration. Finance 138 is a great course to take for quite a few concentrations. So if it's an option for finance, it's an option for entrepreneurship, and it's also an option for general management concentrations. And then kind of general advice, everyone should be taking your respective 101 course at minimum. So for example, if you're doing marketing as your concentration, you want to take marketing 101 minimum. That's a prereq to most of your other marketing courses. If you're a finance concentration, you're going to want to take finance 101. If you are a HR concentration, you want to take HR 101. If you're supply chain management, if you're eligible, you want to take DS and OPM. And so on. But you can pay attention to the sequencing in pages 11 through 23 of your guidebook. Kind of goes over all the classes that you'll need for your specific concentration. And on the right-hand side, it will list any prerequisites that a class has. So you can see that, for example, for marketing, most of the classes, not all, but most will have marketing 101 as a prereq. Okay, so that's kind of concentration specific advice. Just a couple more things. We're getting close to the end, I promise. So you'll want to pay attention to your priority registration appointment. Basically the way orientation works and registration, you're unfortunately registering at the end. However, we still have lots of classes open, so this isn't going to be an issue for you. But as you go forward and you register for future semesters, you're going to actually come up and you'll be sent a registration priority date from the records office, the registrar. You'll want to make sure and register exactly at that time that it tells you. So you don't want to be in a situation where you miss your registration date by a day, by a week. Classes fill up very fast and you want to register as soon as you can. Watch out for registration holds and prerequisites. Your hold section is in the upper right-hand side of your student center. You'll be able to see that you actually have a hold right now. It'll say orientation, that'll come off later, but other holds will pop up from time to time. So it's always a good idea to check that at least a couple times a week to make sure that no new holds pop up on your student center. The other thing is if you can't get your perfect schedule today, maybe you only get 4 classes and you want to add a 5th, but there's just nothing that works with your time schedule. Check back during late registration. That's August 9th through 26th. There is a lot of movement during late registration. A lot of students come back and drop courses that they were enrolled in. A lot of students swap. A lot of students go to part-time. Some students drop all their courses. There's a lot of movement that happens during late registration. So you can use that to your advantage and potentially get another class added onto your schedule. Or if you find yourself in a situation where you really want to take a class with a certain professor, but it's full right now, it may open up in August. So always check back during late registration just to make sure there's nothing else out there that opens up that you may want to take. Make sure to pay your fees on time. If you have a financial aid fee deferment, that's not as big of an issue, but if you're not on financial aid, then you'll want to make sure you pay your fees. You usually have about 2 weeks to pay your fees. If you don't, you do end up in a situation where you will be dropped from your classes. Not good, very difficult to get back into, especially this late in the registration season. Be flexible. Most of our classes, not all, but most of our classes are going to be online. And when I say our, I mean the business classes. GE is kind of a different thing. So be flexible. You may be required to come on campus for 1 or 2 classes. But like I said, most of our classes are going to be online. So you just want to be flexible with your schedule and just know that you may need to come to campus in the fall for at least 1 or 2 classes, depending on which classes you pick and what your schedule looks like. You can always crash classes. This generally happens before the semester starts, so a little bit later from now. But if there's a full class, you can always email the professor and ask them, hey, I know your class is full. Can I get put on some sort of unofficial wait list? Or, can I attend your class for the first 2 weeks? And if anyone drops, could I maybe take their spot? A lot of our professors are pretty accommodating with students who want to try to crash their class. Meet with your advisor before the rush and ask questions. Better safe than sorry. Our rush times are generally towards the end of the semester when registration starts. So for the fall, we're starting to get real busy in November and December, and then in the spring in April and May. So meet with us beforehand. You won't have a line. We'll be able to spend time with you and not feel like we're rushed because we have a line of students out the door. So it's better to meet with us early before the rush. All right, I just wanted to mention a couple things about our course modalities. These are 4 of the 7 course modalities that you'll encounter when you register for classes later. Your orientation leaders should go over this also a little bit later today, but I just wanted to touch on it a little bit before we break off from each other. These are the 4 modalities that you'll find for most of our business classes. So the first one is fully in person. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's just like a normal class. The next one is hybrid. we've had hybrid for a long time, but just if you're not familiar with it, it's going to have a time for the class, but you're only going to meet generally one day of the week. And then the other classwork is completed online. So for example, in this, you'll see that it says the class meets Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 9:50. That means that you'll have to show up during those times. But in this example, Monday's class will be completed online. So it's typically a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 9:50, but you only show up 2 days out of the week. Other hybrids, you only show up 1 day out of the week. So when you go to register, the class modality will be very visible at the bottom of the class. So you'll know what you're getting when you register for the class. The next one, or the next two, are online synchronous and online asynchronous. Online synchronous has a class meeting time that you have to be available during that time at a laptop, at a computer, ready to learn and interact. It's basically like a normal class. It's just taught over Zoom. Online asynchronous has no time. It will say TBA in the time. And that means that it's completely asynchronous. You work at your own pace. The professor sets deadlines when assignments are due and tests are due. It's up to you to kind of keep up with the studying and be on track to pass the class. So these are kind of the 4 different modalities that you'll see for our business classes. Once again, most of our classes, I'd say about 2/3 of our classes are going to be online, and the other 1/4 to 1/3 will be kind of a mix of fully in person or hybrid. So just wanted you to be aware of this before you register, but your orientation leader should be going over this a little bit later today. So setting yourself up for success, this is just kind of a little overview of where, just things to think about based on how many units you're going to take, or, how many work hours you're working. In general, you know yourself better than we do. So this is just kind of a guideline. It's not like no one will mandate this. No one will keep track of how many units you're taking based on how many hours you work. But in general, if you're working up to 20 hours per week, we say it's cool to take 4 to 5 classes. However, if you're working 40 hours a week or more, we really don't recommend taking more than 2 classes. Like I said, you know yourself better than we do, but just something to keep in mind with work and school and kind of work-life education balance. All right, so online classes, we actually created this slide a year ago at the beginning of the pandemic. So it's, you've been in online classes for probably 1.5 years now, so you probably know how to do it. But organization and self-discipline are key. Communication is important, especially with your faculty. Really good idea to set up a system and routine to manage your email. We send all of our email correspondence to your Sac State email. I really would recommend setting up some sort of push notifications, or, if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, setting up your mail client to let you know when you get a new email. It's really a good idea. We get so many students that say, "Oh, I never saw you sent us an email." And we're like, that's the main way we keep in contact with you. So really try to set up a system and routine to manage your email, and also take advantage of our free peer tutoring. We have so many different tutors out there willing and ready to help in a variety of different business classes, especially our required classes, which that's going to be the bulk of what you're taking in the upcoming fall semester. All right. So how do you stay connected with us? There's kind of 2 main ways for this. We have BizList, which is on page 32 of your guidebook. It has information on how to sign up for BizList. BizList is an old school email listserv. It is basically the easiest way that we keep in contact with you. We send out emails about jobs, internships, events, any giveaways that we're doing, scholarship information, that kind of stuff, opportunities just in general for business majors. So I would really recommend you sign up for BizList. You can also follow us on Instagram. We post a lot on Instagram. You can just scan the QR code and that will bring you to our Instagram page where you can follow us. We have a bunch of student assistants and even one student assistant who is in charge of our Instagram account. So we will be posting a lot, especially once the fall semester gets started. Now, Instagram is not going to cover you on everything, so we really recommend that you do BizList as well. BizList is going to be the main way that we get information out to you, but Instagram is also a great way to get information from us as well. All right, so staying connected with us, really the easiest way is email cba-ugrad@csus.edu. You can also visit our website. You can find our Zoom office hours there and links to schedule appointments with counselors. We're physically located in Tahoe Hall 1030. We expect to be back in the office in early August. That could change, but hopefully right now it's set for early August. And our telephone is offline right now, but once we're back in the office, we'll have our telephone line up and running. So once again, the easiest way to contact us, at least throughout the rest of the summer, is going to be our email address, cba-ugrad@csus.edu. All right, so we are done with the presentation portion. I'll open it up for questions in just a minute, but just wanted to go over the follow-up questions portion of this. We will be available on Zoom today, not this Zoom, but our main drop-in Zoom from 4 to 4:30 for major questions only. I put in red to make sure to stay in your orientation GE session until they're finished, including your registration session at 3 p.m. We don't want you leaving your orientation session early to come in and ask us questions. So we will be there from 4 to 4:30. The Zoom link is on the screen, and the meeting code is OSE front desk. So that is the easiest way to ask us a question today. And I want to emphasize that it's major questions only. We cannot help you with GE. We cannot help you with financial aid. We get a lot of financial aid questions. We can't help you out with your admission stuff. So if you have questions specifically pertaining to the business major, we'll be there from 4 to 4:30 today. All right. Hey, Maria.
Brandon, I want to apologize. My internet went out. So,
oh no.
yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
But I think I caught most of the questions on the chat. We were very busy, but I know that there was a period of time where there's some questions could have come in, or I was trying to answer some questions and I missed them. So please, if you do have questions that I didn't answer, just raise your hand and we'll get to those.
All right, Amira, do you have a question? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, but I think you said that I need to ask it between 4 and 4:30. However, it's 8:30 p.m. where I am, and my day is.
Go ahead and ask. That's fine.
Okay. My first question was I have two. When you brought up the concentration list and you were talking about how some concentrations mesh well with one another, I was wondering what second concentration could mesh well with MIS.
Well, unfortunately, there's not a lot. Our new one, business analytics, would be the closest, though.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, business analytics, if you look at the list of classes, especially the electives, there's lots that overlap with MIS. Unfortunately, MIS is kind of its own beast. So that's really it, is business analytics. Not too much else overlaps with MIS.
Okay, that's okay. I thought that too. I was just throwing it out there. And then my second question is there a minor that you guys have thought about or would recommend if I was also taking the MIS concentration? Because I don't want to do a full CIS thing, but I was wondering if there was something like in cybersecurity. I couldn't really see it on the list.
That's a great question. If you're doing MIS, I would definitely recommend looking into the computer science minors. They have a minor in information security and something. And they have a general computer science minor, but the information security one, it doesn't have any crazy prereqs, and it's just computer science classes. So I think it would really go well with the MIS concentration. But look under the computer science department, and it's I forget the exact title, but it's information security and something. But it's a great minor to pair with MIS.
Okay, and I have to fill out a form for that, I think.
Yes, and keep in mind, that's a different department. So we would have nothing to do with that minor declaration. So you'd want to contact the computer science department. Each department has a different kind of process for adding students to their minors. And that's something that you would have to check with them. Oh, thanks, Manuel. So it's a minor in information security and computer forensics.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you put the catalog link to it in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I also put the computer science department link on there. You can go there, get their forms. They may have forms to declare their minors on there also.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, Jacqueline, you're up next.
Thank you. I got my OR form and it just had to mention that I didn't take a certain course, but I did take it. And so I think one of my questions that was not answered, or it may have been answered, there's a lot going on in the chat, but is my unofficial transcript I don't have my official transcript because I am taking my last 2 classes this summer.
Okay.
So where would I send my unofficial to get an updated OR?
So send it to cba-ugrad@csus.edu. Just put it in the chat. And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know if it's to me, but I can't copy individual messages.
You mean from the chat?
Yeah.
It
has me select the whole chat to
try using the if you're on a Windows, just try using Control-C if you highlight it and see if that doesn't work. Okay. Well, I mean, you could just
write. Oh, go ahead.
You can just write it down. It's just cba-ugrad@csus.edu.
And just send it there. Is there any specific verbiage we should put in the body of?
No, because we're going to be getting a bunch of transcripts today.
Okay.
You won't get an updated OR form necessarily, but we'll have your transcript and we can add it to your file so we know that you're taking those classes. Just keep in mind that when you send us an unofficial transcript, that's just for us. You also need to send the official transcript once you finish your summer grades to the main records office. If you don't do that, they never get posted to your official record, and that's not something that we have control over. We just request the unofficial. Transcript for us. So just make sure to send the official to the records office.
Okay. And then, because I want to start registering for classes, so should I register for what is currently on my OR?
Yeah, I mean, your OR should still have a bunch of upper division classes that you can register for, and we know that you're not, you still need those for sure. So I would recommend, following what's on your OR and following what the upper division course requirements are on your OR.
Okay. Now, last
Does that make
question.
sense?
It does. Yes, absolutely. Last question. MIS 10. I did take, I think, roughly about 3 CIS computer science, informational science classes, which were PowerPoint, Excel, and Word at Los Rios. So does that meet MIS 10, or is MIS 10 completely different? Do you know?
So you're effectively grandfathered in if you took the old MIS 1, 2, and 3 prior to this summer. So you're good if you took those old 3 classes, but for any student that's missing MIS 10 or hasn't taken the old MIS 1, 2, and 3, they're going to have to take MIS 10. So if you took like CISA 308 and CISA 315 or whatever, 318,
yes, then
you're good. As long as you took them spring 2021 or before.
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're good.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Who's next? Simon.
Hey. Okay. So my first question was, and I missed it, but you mentioned that the DS 101, the data analysis class, you mentioned it was, did you say the prerequisite was statistics, or is it a continuation, like a statistics-based course?
Both. So DS 101 has prereqs of both Stat 1 and Math 24. Okay. But DS 101 itself, like the class, is a continuation of Stat 1. It's a business analytics, business statistics course. So it's really pulling on your stat knowledge more so
Okay.
than your Math 24, but Math 24 is still a prereq along with stats.
Okay. And then also, my major from Los Rios was in marketing, but I already submitted the change to go over to finance. It
Okay.
won't affect my because I'm planning to enroll in the classes today. It won't affect anything because most of those classes are core for business majors, so it doesn't really affect anything.
No,
in terms
it
of
doesn't affect your registration at all. You just want to get it changed in the system so like your academic audit looks correct. But it doesn't affect you registering. You can register for any upper division business course as long as you've met the prerequisite.
Okay. And then my last question was actually from the last question you answered from the previous person.
Mhm.
You said that the official transcript is what we need to submit like overall for like the records office.
Yes.
Is that so? Earlier you were saying that on our transcript it'll show the ADT. Mine doesn't have like the ADT verification yet, but is that going to come on that unofficial transcript, or am I going to have to like request the official transcript that proves the ADT?
It should show up on your unofficial, and that's good enough for us.
Okay.
Sometimes, so actually, I should have mentioned this before. I forgot to do this yesterday. If you're having trouble, not right now, but if you're having trouble getting your ADT to post, like, or not seeing it, and it's like, July, August, you can request usually with the community college, you can request your your official transcript. And usually there's a box or a check mark that says hold for any pending degrees. That tends to speed up the granting of an ADT degree. So if you find yourself in a situation where it's not being posted, you can try contacting like the community college registrar or records office. But if that doesn't help or that doesn't work, you can try requesting your official transcript and checking that box that says, usually says like hold for degrees or hold for pending degrees or something like that.
Okay. And you said they'd probably shoot that out in like July, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had an orientation session yesterday and I got one from a guy at Sierra College that it's already posted. So
okay, cool.
It's just, I don't know the rhyme or reason to like the order. It could be like your last name. It could be when you applied for the ADT, but they're granting them as we speak. It's just sometimes it takes a little bit longer.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem. All right, Catherine?
Yes, I just want to clarify the general education class under writing intensive, and then one of the classes course by major class, which is MGMT 117. Is that it will carry over also through the GE class under GE section? It said over here under section either GEBCB or section D, area D, which is MGMP 117. Because when I look the classes, there is like a small letter underneath on that section that it will attribute with GE area D. And when I look my academic progress, they recommend me that I need to take at least writing intensive class. And when I look the options for writing intensive class under area D, so I see the MGMT 117. That will carry over also with the GE class.
Yeah, you're kind of jumping ahead with the GE questions, but yeah, Management 117 works as both an upper division GE area D writing intensive, and it also works as a elective within the general management concentration. So if you want to, you can take Management 117 and that will kind of knock out 2 requirements with 1 class.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Manuel?
Hi.
Hey, thank you for the help in the chat. That was helpful.
Of course. I was considering myself taking that minor as well, because it's like only 15 units.
Yeah.
2 questions. By any chance, and I asked my orientation leader as well, and I'm sorry, Natalie, in case if she already had the answer, but I'm really desiring to try to find any courses for Microsoft Access. So does anyone know in this Zoom meeting if Sacramento State has any Microsoft Access courses for
Yeah,
business
so
related?
we
or-
have, actually, I haven't checked the schedule. I don't know if Maria might know if it's offered, but we have an MIS4 class that is specifically for MS Access. It was offered like a year ago. It's not required, so I don't really keep up with it. But if you look for MIS4, that's our access class. You can also look at the community college. A lot of community colleges teach an access class. But if you want to take it here, you'll want to be looking for MIS4.
I don't think it's on the schedule for fall. It
Okay.
may be offered in the spring. The faculty that teaches it is what we call FERPing. It's semi-retired, so they only teach one semester a year. I don't think she's fully out yet. So if it's going to be offered, I'm thinking in spring.
Yeah.
But no guarantees. But
Yeah. Check the community colleges though. They may have an option for you.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mhm.
And then the other one was, so am I able to take DS 101 before OPM 101?
Yes. DS 101 is a prerequisite to OPM, but you can take it at the same time as OPM. You can take OPM at the same time as DS 101 if you'd like, but DS 101, you can take it before OPM. That's totally fine.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
No problem, Manuel. All right, Paul?
So you said we should send our official transcripts in when we get them. My question is, I've read in a couple different areas of Sac State that if we're students with Los Rios, those transcripts are automatically sent in.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, if you're going to a Los Rios school, those get automatically pulled by the admissions office. So you don't have to send your official transcripts if those are the only schools that you've attended. We would still need a copy of your unofficial transcripts because we don't necessarily have access to what the admissions office has access to. So don't forget to send us an unofficial copy of your transcripts. If that makes sense.
No, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. All right, any other questions? This is a big group.
I had a question. So I'm taking one summer class right now. Should I send my official transcript after that class is finished up, or should I just send it now?
Which class is it?
It's managerial accounting. So.
Okay, so are you getting your ADT in the summer then?
Yes.
Okay. Honestly, I mean, you're better off just sending us a current unofficial copy of your transcript just so we have the most updated information. We will need your ADT conferral in August or September, whenever it posts, and we will need the final grade for the accounting as well. So you're probably better off just sending 2 copies, one now and then one in August when your degree posts.
Yeah, I was planning on doing that, but when we have to send our official transcripts to the admissions office, should I do that at the end of my?
Well, so the way I understand it is admissions needs your final spring transcript by July 15th. And then you'll need to send because your summer grade won't be done by then, right? So you'll need to send a second official transcript after your summer grades post. But the more important one is to get them that final official by July 15th.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Jacqueline, did you have another question?
Yes. So in the presentation, you mentioned finance as kind of a weird concentration. Can you explain that one more time? I remember you said it's like a subtract area.
Yeah. So
I chose
your
finance, and I
Okay.
don't know if I should change it if it's not, something that's.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said weird. I didn't mean to scare people off, but basically your major is business, and then you have a concentration in finance. That's all that's viewable on your diploma and your records. But there's this sub area that you have to choose like an emphasis or like a specialization within finance. You're probably under the general finance track, which is what most students pick. But if you have an interest in financial planning, real estate, or risk management, you can switch to that track. It changes your classes a little bit to kind of more focus in on that specific area. So don't really give too much thought to it, but just keep in mind that your degree's in business and your concentration's finance, whatever track you end up choosing.
Okay.
But my guess is you're probably under general. That's what most students pick. And if you're happy with that, yeah, you can think of the general track as just the like stock finance concentration. You're just going to be getting a little bit of all the different areas of finance.
Okay, and that's really what I want. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Syed?
Yeah, so I have a question too. I'm sure you probably answered this as well. So basically my situation is that I'm on track. I've already done math 24 for our session that just passed. So you would need that transcript, you said by July 14th?
So the admissions office, there's two different things. The admissions office needs it by July 15th. That's the official. We just need an unofficial copy of your transcripts, you know, at some point in the near future.
Perfect. So I'll get that going. And then I'm also taking 3 classes for summer session right now at my community college to boost up my GPA, right?
Okay.
So I'm taking those 3 classes. Now, when would I send, so I would send another transcript again after those 3 summer classes are done?
Yeah. So what classes are you taking over the summer?
They're like elective classes, but they're transferable to Sac State.
Okay.
So
in that, yeah, in that instance, you will not need to send us a copy of your transcripts for those, but you will need to send the official to the admissions office. And then for us right now, I assume, were you getting an ADT for the spring semester?
Yeah, so I'm getting my ADT, so that should post real soon as well.
Okay,
so
we just need that unofficial transcript with the ADT.
Okay.
Those extra summer courses, they're not pertaining to the business major. You're already in the major, so we don't need those. But if you want to get credit for them, you'll have to send the official to the records office or the admissions office.
I see, yeah, because I'm right below the GPA for the cutoff to get into the business major officially. So that's why I took those 3 courses to reapply again for the next coming.
Okay, but if you're in this orientation session, you are admitted to the business major pending your ADT. So your GPA, I mean, you're more than welcome to boost your GPA just for general purposes, but you won't need to boost your GPA to get into the major because you're already in the major.
Okay.
Did you get the OR that on top of your OR, does it say that you're in a concentration or does it say express interest in business? I want to make sure you're not in the wrong session.
It says expressed in business.
Yeah, so you're in the wrong session. So yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we can talk about it at the end, Syed.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oasis?
Hello. On to what Maria was saying as well. How do you know if you are expressed or that's your major, or if you, how can we look at that?
If you look at your OR form here, I'll actually go back.
Oh, I have
there's
mine
2
here actually. Let me see.
So at the top, you'll see a concentration. It'll say marketing or something. If you have that one, then that means you're in the major. If it says
nice.
Expressed interest, then that means that you're still expressed interest.
Cool, I'm in the right place. Okay, so my other question, we keep talking about meshing concentrations. Is that mean it's like a double major or a minor?
Neither. It's not a double major because you're still majoring in business. It's just a double concentration. So that's the yeah.
That's neat. So for management, what would be like a good major to mesh that with? Do you think like human resources?
General management?
Yes.
I would do entrepreneurship because it's only 2 extra classes. It's a super easy one to add on. That's typically what we see general management students add if they're going to add a second concentration.
That's great. That's good. Good to know. Thank you so much.
No problem. All right, Simon.
Okay, sorry. So on my OR then, because originally I was set for marketing, it's telling me to do marketing 101 and then marketing 123, but that's because of like the marketing. So instead what I do like if I wanted to go that route, would I do finance 101 and then I could do finance 138 as a replacement?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But you
Okay.
still need marketing 101. You can still take that class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But don't take marketing 123. That's a specific to marketing, so that you can skip that one.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem. Brian?
Yeah, so my concentration's in business analytics, and I was just wondering what you may suggest as a double concentration that kind of overlaps with it.
So I would say, first of all, you don't need to do a double concentration. Analytics is a pretty heavy concentration on its own. If you're looking for a second one, maybe MIS, but you got to remember that MIS is a really big concentration as well. So there is some overlap between the two, but those two concentrations, even though there's overlap, there's a lot to each of those concentrations. So, I mean, honestly, if you're fine with it, I would just do business analytics. Don't feel like you have to add a second concentration.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Christine?
Hi. Okay, so I just want to clarify real quick. So I got my ADT in sociology. So I'm going to start. So right now I'm considered expressed interest in business, correct?
Yes, but
So
you should have been in the other session if you were expressed interest in business.
Oh, okay. Well, so then I was just wondering, so since I kind of have to start from like step one and take all these like the lower division courses until I take all those, then I get accepted into the program. And then once that happens, then I can start doing the like concentration courses.
Yes, but you have to finish the prereqs. You have to have a competitive GPA. Typically it's around a 3.0 overall. And that's at the time of application. So not necessarily right now. If you need to raise it, you have time. But yeah, you have to do all the prerequisites first, and then you have to apply to the business major and be accepted. And that's based on your overall GPA.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. I'm just confused if I should. Yeah. I'm just kind of like starting all over again. It feels like,
Yeah. Yeah. In general, if you don't have any of the lower division classes done, you'll obviously need to get started with those.
Right. Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you.
I think Vanette's next.
Hi. So
Hi.
you were talking about like another session that another person was supposed to be into. Like for my application status, it shows for under plan as express interest for business general management, but like it shows as well that I'm admitted.
Admitted to the major?
Like I think that's for into the school. I'm not sure if that's for the same thing. I don't know. I'm just kind of confused about that.
Yeah, so we had in the past now, we had two different sessions. We had a session for expressed interest students, and then we had a session for students in the major. You may have chosen the wrong session to attend. You probably should have been in the expressed interest session instead of this session for students in the major.
Okay. So should I like continue to like stay here in this session or?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to hang out at the end, we can look up your file and see what happened and kind of give you a quick little overview of what you need to do.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so just hang out for a little bit longer.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Esphir?
Hi, I had a quick question. Can we, is there an option to concentrate more on real estate? Like I want to do general management, and then can you add like real estate onto it, or it's better to do entrepreneurship?
So you have two options. You can switch to finance and do a track in real estate, or you can do a minor in real estate with a different concentration. Those are kind of your two options that you could do. Just keep in mind, if you do the track under finance, it won't show up anywhere official. So you may want to do the minor in real estate. That is actually something that will show up on your records.
Okay, so if I'm right now in general management, what do I do for real estate? Just add a minor?
You can add a minor if you want to, or you can switch to the finance concentration and choose the real estate track. It's honestly, it's up to you. You could do either.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Brandon, before the next question, there was a question in the chat. If you don't have any questions, you're free to go. If one of the leaders, I think they go to lunch now and then they meet up with you at 1 o'clock. Is that correct?
It might be different for other leaders, but I know for my group today, just come back to my Zoom session. We're just gonna do a quick overview of everything that we talked about right now for about like 5 or 10 minutes. And then we should be going to lunch after that.
Okay, so yeah, if you have questions, feel free to stick around. If you don't and you want to go join your leader, you can do that also.
All right, Alexander, do you have a question?
Yes, it shows my last session is from 1 p.m. 1-on-1. But what link for this session? Do you know?
That would be from your orientation leader.
It's from orientation leader, yeah?
Yes, correct.
Oh, now what about 2 majors? Can you explain? I choose accounting for my major, but how it's connect with real estate, what minor?
There's no overlap between the two. So you're more than welcome to declare a real estate minor, but you'll have to take the full, I believe, 15 units for the real estate minor.
It's additional 15 units.
Correct.
It's very different, I think.
Yeah, there's no overlap between those two. But you're more than welcome to do it it's basically going to take an extra semester to get that.
What minor connect to accounting?
There really is no minor that would connect to accounting, unfortunately. Accounting is kind of its own thing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
No problem. You too. Is it Kiel or Keel?
Yes, it is.
Hi.
Brennan, my question was, because I did hear earlier that we had to stay here because in my OR, it does show expressed interest. So I'm just waiting and following up, making sure that, I'm waiting for you.
Okay. Yeah, hang out till the end and we'll address those. I'm not sure what happened, but we'll figure it out.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Manuel, do you have another question?
Yep. All this talk about minors and majors and second minors. I know business analytics is fairly new, but has there been any mention of making it into a minor?
I don't know, Maria. Has there been anything with that? I don't think so.
Not at this point. It's at this point it is just a concentration. I haven't heard them talk about a minor, but you're MIS, right?
No, I'm an accounting.
You're accounting. Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty big one to do with accounting. But yeah, no minor at this point. There is a Master of Science in Business Analytics. So if you were interested in that, that's something you could do after earning your bachelor's.
That's true.
So
yeah, because I
an
remember
option.
there used to be a different minor in, I think, what was it? MIS?
Knowledge management technology.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that hasn't been around. Yeah. That's very old. It's still out there in some old catalogs and websites and paperwork though.
Yep, exactly. Okay, thank
All
you.
right, no problem. Oasis?
Yes, so kind of irrelevant, but I got an email earlier this month, maybe 2 months ago, saying that they changed the name for the business school. What was it before, or what was that?
It was, so the old name was the College of Business Administration, or CBA, and now it's just the College of Business. So they basically just dropped the administration last word of it.
So it's the College of Business. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Minor change, but it's
same thing. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Thanks.
Agent? Are you there, Agent? Oh, you're muted. Sorry. There you go.
All right, there we go. The email from you yesterday on my OR card says concentration as a county.
Mhm.
A little relate to other student earlier, but my student center on that, it still says express interest as a county. So what, like the other one, student center is not updated yet. So
it might be. We'll have to look that up.
okay, but I should be here today, right? I just the other
yeah, as long
students
as you were
expressed-
accepted to the business major and you got your acceptance letter, I mean, that would have come back in like
Yeah, that was a
April.
long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the right session. We just need
Oh,
to make
okay.
sure that it's changed in the system. That's where I went through the list yesterday before I sent the emails, and it looked right. So you may just be looking at a different area that hasn't been updated. But
okay.
we'll check
On that
if you want to hang
application
out.
statute, application status on student center, it still shows the express interest. So
No,
once the other student mentioned
old.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Agent, you're showing as in the accountancy.
Oh, okay.
What you're looking at is your application. At that time, you were expressed interest. That wasn't changed. But if you look on your academics tab in your student center, you are in the major. So you're good.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Any other last questions before we get to those other students that are just waiting?
I just wanted to say thank you for everything.
Yeah, no, thanks, Manuel. You did a great job in the chat. I forgot to mention this, but we are hiring for student assistant positions. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. So if you're interested in working in the OSE, we have a variety of different positions from like peer mentors to peer advisors to student staff. So check out our website. There is a link to our application. I think it's due towards the end of this month or maybe early next month. But if you're interested in working in the OSE, we have applications out there.
Got it. Sweet.
Cool.
I'll look into
it. Sounds
All right,
good.
bye.
Bye. All right. I'm gonna